This happened all about 4 years ago. I was sitting in my Chinese classroom and we were doing speeches for our Chinese poetry. And I remember my teacher used to read out names randomly on a sheet of paper. Then she would read this name, then this name, then this name. And every single time I'm just begging it's not me, begging it's not me, begging it's not me. Because I'm so underprepared. I'm not even underprepared. I had my whole draft written out. I was scared. I was scared to go up. Then the clock starts winding down and this butterfly starts growing in my stomach and I just start sweating all over. Then obviously, my teacher reads out my name. And at that moment, like, the whole world stopped. In this instant, I looked blankly in front of me. Literally, my palms started sweating, right? Then I could feel everyone's gaze on me, just everyone looking at me. Then everyone's laughing, everyone's smiling, everyone's cackling behind my back. Then I take my draft, and I slowly walk up to the stage. I didn't even look up. I didn't look up at all. I was trying to be nonchalant. I was trying to like walk backwards and forwards to actually get into the mood, but I can't. I looked at the page, I looked at the words. It was literally like dyslexia. I had dyslexia at that moment. I could not enunciate, I could not pronounce, I could not speak at all. I was speaking like I had some kind of speech disability. I literally cannot raise my eyes to meet the crowd. And I had to finish halfway. I was like, what the hell, I'm not reading this anymore. I didn't manage to finish. That was the worst experience I ever had with public speaking. Everyone with nervous laughter, everyone with awkward applause. This is not what you want for one of the most important Chinese poetry, whatever essays that we had to do in that year. It was terrible. But slowly and steadily, throughout the past 4 years, I felt like I've gained a lot more experience in public speaking. In the past 7 months alone, I've done possibly up to 10 public speakings in front of other people, in like bigger audiences as well, for like 200, 300 people. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is literally the 5 actionable steps. They're not going to just be concepts. I think the concepts are so boring. I'm not going to teach you concepts today. I'm going to talk to you about how I genuinely managed to not care about public speaking at all. Like, not to care about what the audience thinks. To get into the flow, to get into the rhythm of actually speaking, of getting laughter, of getting applause, of getting people looking at you with such admiration. I'm going to talk to you today about that. So number 1, I think the most actionable step that you can do right now, if you have an assignment coming up, if you have a speech coming up, is to start with engagement. What I mean by this is to write your intro. You see, you might have heard this a lot of the times, like the intro is the most important part. But what I'm telling you here is that the intro is not the most important part for the audience. The intro is the most important part for you. Because what you want to do is make yourself more confident. We are all not confident when we walk up to the stage, right? The only thing we really need is the affirmative from the audience. We need the audience to engage with us. We need the audience to basically like express something, have a reaction to what we're saying, to feel like we're actually making a difference. So the first thing I want you to do right now is to take out a piece of paper, write down like some kind of rhetorical question or whatever, some kind of easy hook to make the audience either like laugh or cry or like feel like some kind of emotion that you can see, that you can observe yourself. Personally, the best way to engage your audience is literally start with like a poll question. I did this for one of my biggest speeches that I wrote for my school assembly, which is about atomic habits, this book. And literally this thing I started off with was a raise of hands. Could I see everyone in this room who checks their phone the first thing in the morning? That was such a good way to engage the audience. Made me feel so much more confident that people are actually listening to me and care what I'm talking about. The second thing I really want to talk about is passion. It's really important that you actually care about what you're talking. You know, what I want you to do as a really actionable step right now is to think, same thing, take out a piece of paper, right? take out a pen, think about one thing that makes you different from every single other person. One thing that you know better than everyone else in the room you're going to speak in. Because your passion means everything to the audience. If they can tell that you care about what you're talking about, they are going to care as well. It's a kind of co-regulation. What I mean by this, co-regulation is kind of like a scientific term. In very simple science, co-regulation is when you surround yourself with people, the way you feel about the topic you're talking about or the thing you're passionate about would emulate, it would literally diffuse itself throughout the room. So that other people would literally be passionate about you talking about this random thing, whether it be like Pokemon Go, like Fortnite, or like this random like club that you went to. They're gonna feel the same passion as you do because you are so like sure in yourself, you're so confident. You have so much knowledge about it that no one can test with you. And I think that's really, really important. Then what I want to do as my third actionable step is enunciation. You see, when I walked up in my Chinese speech, I was like stressing out, right? I was like in this kind of daze and I didn't know how to enunciate my words. I literally had dyslexia. The best thing you can do is what my drama teacher taught me. And I'm going to teach it to you right now. It might seem stupid, it might seem something like you never do in your life, but trust me, it's going to change your life if you do this for your public speaking. So what I do is, she does this kind of like a cheesy thing where you hold your hand up in this kind of like shape, Then you kind of act like a bee is buzzing around. Then this warms up your tongue so well. This is actually how you get your vocal cords to actually work before the speech. So you just rise up and go like bzzz, like rising note. Then you go down bzzz, 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 bzzz. Like doing stuff like that would warm up your tongue so well. Another thing I do is literally just roll my tongue around my mouth, like it literally makes you so much better. This is what I did right before recording this video. And that's how I can enunciate every single one of my words so well. I can teach you so well because I can actually talk. It's crazy. Step number 4 is to have a friend. I think this is so crucial. I've been through so many stages where I felt like everyone in my audience was against me. In that Chinese classroom, every single person was cackling behind my back. I felt so unsafe. I felt like there was no person who genuinely had interest in what I was talking about. Everyone wanted to see my downfall. When you have a friend in the audience, when you have someone you could talk to, even if you had a terrible speech, that makes you feel so much better. So one thing I would tell you is that no matter what, in your speeches, try to have that one friend you can relate to. Have that one friend who's always going to cheer for you. Have that one friend that's going to talk to you about how it went no matter what happens. Because that gives you so much more confidence. Ring up this friend right now, tell them to come to your speech or whatever. It's going to change your life. And if you do a good speech, the friend's praise and approval would mean everything to you. It would literally act as feedback for what you did in the speech. And the last one, number 5, and the best one I'm going to talk about, is how to deal with stress. And this one is also what my drama teacher taught me, but I think this is the best one that I can possibly implement in every single one of my speeches. This stretch, I'm just going to show you right now, because I'm just like, kind of guy. Alright, you do this, you stand up, yeah? Then you're kind of like trying to loosen yourself. And the thing you do is literally to stretch downwards, right? Try to touch your toes, then kind of just like move around, this kind of thing, drop your head, then start like inhaling, then exhaling, then like do this for like 30 seconds, then you slowly like move upwards, you try to like loosen your neck and everything. Like bro, when I say that this is the best thing and it can help you relieve so many nerves, it literally uncramps your stomach. That's how strong it really is. So that's my tips as an actual like public speaker. I've done enough speeches in my life to make me feel like I'm actually like quite knowledgeable in this kind of topic. So I hope that my 5 actual steps really could change your life. Because I know that these all really did change my life. Like I'm so passionate about this. I love public speaking, I genuinely think this would make the difference. This would change your outlook on stage fright. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye bye.